Have you ever watched Meet the Robinsons? That boiler hat kind of remind you of something? Yeah, me too. All right, welcome to the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Will Santana, and
I'm Mike Russo, and when the Whiffle Boy sits on your head, he means business.
oh yeah, man, Whiffle getting a lot of love this episode, Mike.
Yeah, he does come up in this one.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, Mike, how's your family doing, man?
We are all right. We're recording this April 19th. It's going up earlier in May, but I'm sure by then we're still going to be in the middle of this quarantine. Man, I just want this to end. We're all doing okay, but, it's probably not. It looks like all the schools are closed for the rest of the year. So none of us are going back to school, it looks like. Me and my wife are teachers. My daughter's a kindergartner. So this is going to be our holding pattern for the next few months. It's crazy, but we're surviving. How about you?
Yeah, just tired of being stuck in the house. Even though I don't never leave the house much, but it's like being forced to. It's like when someone tells you can't go. But this episode airs a day after Mother's Day, so I hope everyone had a happy Mother's Day, got to spend time with their moms, or call them, or Skype them,
or Zoom, or whatever you use. Yeah,
FaceTime, whatever you can. Get some quality time with your moms. Me and you don't really talk personal. I know a little bit story about your mom. My story with my mom is not that great either. So we're not going to get into that. But
no.
Yeah, but I hope everyone's having a happy Mother's Day somehow, some way or form. Or if you're a mother yourself and you listen to us, we hope your kids did something nice for you.
That is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so Mike, anything new going on your end, man?
No, not really. Only so much can go on when you can't really do all that much. I'm sure like most people, we've been playing lots of Animal Crossing. That's a lot of fun. That's keeping us sane. Otherwise, things are okay. It's just obviously it could be better, but we're surviving.
Yeah, we over here we've been watching a lot of movies, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Vudu, a lot of streaming. Tonight, what's today's date, Mike?
Today's date is the 19th.
Oh man, I'm missing a big old documentary on ESPN. It's a Michael Jordan documentary. I'm gonna have to catch it later on ESPN Plus. It's a big thing that's going on in sports right now because there are no sports. So we get a documentary, best thing we're gonna get.
No sports, no movie theaters, no theme parks, no nothing.
Yeah, no nothing. And then as of this date, me and you are working on a project we're trying to put out there for the Darkwing fans, and I've been doing some other projects, for Darkwing, our YouTube channel, and then a couple of buddies of mine, we're all hip hop fans, so we started this little hip hop streaming thing with battles, and it's been pretty cool. It was fun. Today we did our first one.
You just gotta find different ways to keep yourself busy, or else you're gonna go crazy.
Yeah, man. And it's kind of cool to see everybody. We're all on Zoom and we're playing the music. We're picking judges, who scores out what. But enough chit chat, Mike. Let's go ahead and get into today's episode. What's today's episode?
Battle of the Brainteasers. Another Saturday morning one.
Mm-hmm. And we kind of got mixed feelings about this one, right?
Yeah, I really like this one. Like borderline love this one. I think this one's great. But you're not as enthused about it, are you?
Not at all. I don't hate this one at all. I don't think it's a terrible episode. I'm like, it's okay. It's doable for me for one day,
Yeah, it's certainly better than the sequel.
Oh, God. That's the one I hate. I don't know how you feel about the sequel, but that's the one I do hate.
We have lots of time before we get to that one.
Yeah. But I do like when we have mixed opinions on it because I hate it when we always agree on stuff, which is cool from time to time. But I do like it that we have different personalities and, our opinions are subjective. So you may like something, I may hate it, I may be in the middle or the other way around. But, I think it works out for the fans, or the listeners.
We tend to agree for the most part. Up until now, I haven't loved one that you've outright hated. So it's been pretty consistent.
Okay. All right. So, Mike, what's our production and air date order today, man?
Okay, so this one aired Saturday, November 2nd, 1991. So we're finally into November. And man, get this. This one was only the 7th episode in production order.
Ooh, so it's way up there.
So 7, yeah, this is a really early one. I wonder where it would have aired on the Disney afternoon if ABC hadn't gotten a hold of it. Because this one really, in terms of production numbers, is our first real introduction to the Muddlefoots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our first big Honker story, at least according to when it was written.
Yeah.
And it's the first appearance of Tank in terms of production numbers too.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, I feel like this one was written partly to establish Honker's home life, because it really feels like it's an intro to those characters.
Yeah, it kind of does. I can see that.
Because I feel like if this had aired like maybe the first or second week in syndication, you would have been like, got it. I know what the Muddlefoots are like. I totally get this family. And I think that was the intent, to really introduce you to Herb and Binky, and especially Honker's relationship with Tank.
Yeah.
Like this definitely feels, and this is the first big Goslin episode if you're taking the numbers into account. The first one where she's truly the star character.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and we got some nice voice actors in this one. We got some pretty good ones. We got some heavy hitters.
Yes, we absolutely do. Some pulling double duty.
Yeah, we'll get into that when we get there. But what's our who's our writer, our story editor, and our animators?
Story editor is Tad, which doesn't shock me. It's one of those earlier ones. You know, those early ones, he has his fingerprints all over those. So definitely, Tad's on story editing duties. Our writers, this is one of the early classics from Kevin Campbell and Brian Swenlin. We've mentioned them before. They wrote the 2 Justice Ducks episodes, and they're going to go on to write Dry Hard. They also wrote In Like Blunt. They were the best Darkwing writers, and this is I'd say, my own opinion, this is a very strong show from them. Again, definitely 2 of the best writers on Darkwing Duck. I really enjoy their work. And in terms of animation, we're back with Disney Australia again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really grateful they did this one, because they give this episode a really nice atmosphere. I like how a lot of this episode takes place at night, because it's a very, it's definitely a horror parody kind of an episode, like invading aliens, picking off all the good guys one by one, mind controlling them, Goslin's the last one left, nuclear annihilation. It's definitely a darker episode. I think the animation really helps, especially the background work on this one. And there's some hit or miss animation of the characters. There's a few good scenes I'll point out. Not Australia's best episode, but one I'm happy they actually got to work on. So all that said, let's start talking about what happens in this one.
All right, we start off. We have a meteor, and it's hitting many asteroids, and it falls in the Earth, and it lands like in the middle of a farm.
Really quick though, when the meteorite's hitting the asteroids, did you catch the pinball sound effects?
Yeah, I did.
A little corny, but it works for Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, I mean, it's for kids, a cartoon, but it works for that era because we played pinball.
Oh,
Today's kids wouldn't get it.
No, kids wouldn't get that now.
Nah.
But somebody notices the meteor. Who is it?
Yeah, our boy Honk. He's got it with he sees it with the telescope.
Yep, this is, like I said, this is where we get to know Honker's really miserable home life, like really sad existence, because Honker comes down the stairs, and who does he immediately crash into?
Oh, that bully. What's his name? Tank?
Yeah, they set up Tank really well, because Tank's eating the ice cream. He crashes into Tank, and the ice cream gets all over Tank's shirt, and you see what kind of a jerk Tank is.
Oh, yeah, immediately.
Yeah, he puts the ice cream on top of the telescope, drops it on Honker's head. He's not. Tank isn't a very nice character. I mean, Dana Hill's voice work is nice. The animation on Tank in this episode is fun, but yeah, he's not very nice. He's definitely he's a bully, to put it mildly. So Honker's trying to get someone to pay attention to him because he saw a meteor in the sky. After he gets done with Tank, who's the first person he goes to?
To Herb, and Herb is watching our Darkwing most beloved TV show.
What's the TV show?
Pelican's Island.
Yep, Herb's watching Pelican's Island. If you listen really closely, that's Rob Paulson as a television announcer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Herb isn't paying attention. I mean, immediately, if this was our first, real time with Herb, we know right away he's just a television couch potato. He's. So Honker goes into the kitchen and talks to Binky.
Yep, that doesn't go that well either.
No, Binky is way too preoccupied with making dinner. When he says meteor, she thinks he wants more meat. So his whole family's completely worthless. They don't even try to communicate with him. Yeah. So he goes next door.
And Drake answers the door.
Oh, Drake. This is the episode where Darkwing does absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember we talked about Jurassic Jumble, and I was like, wow, Darkwing does nothing productive in this episode. He certainly does more than he does here. What is the only thing Drake does in this episode?
He plays Whiffle Boy.
Yeah, which would have been our intro to Whiffle Boy. It wouldn't have been Whiffle While You Work. If this one had aired first, we would have been introduced to Whiffle Boy in this one. Yeah. So Drake's really obsessed with the game. He keeps talking about Whiffle Boy sitting on his head. I don't know what that phrase means.
I have no idea either.
But he's not paying attention. Honker mentions a fireball, and Drake's just like, nah, that's in a different level. You jump over that. Okay, so finally someone has to listen to Honker. Who is it?
It's got to be Goz, obviously.
Yeah, of course. It's his best friend. Of course Gosling's going to listen. And when she notices the ice cream on the telescope, she tells him, he has to show some guts, which sets up the theme for this episode, Honker learning to stick up for himself. Mm-hmm. But, of course, he says if he shows guts, Tank will do the showing with his guts.
Yeah. So then we get a transition. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, when Gosling discovers the meteor, immediately she goes into the idea that there are aliens and they're going to be famous. Mm-hmm. So they head off. Okay, so now we have to meet our villains.
Yeah, we got 3 of them.
Yeah, they're a spaceship. The meteorite's actually a spaceship. Mm-hmm. And our villains are 3 hats, and the spaceship is shaped like a hat box. Mm-hmm. So very clever visual. So the aliens are all hats. Picture a bowler hat, I guess it's a cowboy hat, and a cap. They all have 3 legs with suction cups on them, and each cap has eyes on them. Mm-hmm. So the hats jump on a couple of sheep and a cow, and we learn their names, and we find out who voiced them.
Yep.
First, we have the leader. What's the leader's name?
Flarg.
He's voiced by Rob Paulson.
The G.
And I know we all talk about how great Steelbeak is, but Rob Paulson's really hamming it up as Flarg. He's having a really good time with this character. Mm-hmm. And Barada is the cowboy hat. I guess it's a cowboy hat.
Yep.
And Barada is voiced by Jim, and in kind of an Australian accent, a little bit. The accent kind of reminds me of, the show Tasmania, Taz's boss, Mr. Thickley, using the exact same Australian accent. And the cap, his name is?
Nikto, right?
Nikto. And don't listen to IMDb. It is not Frank Welker. It is Richard Curran. And if that voice sounds familiar, it's because he voiced A.F. Errett on Hush Hush Sweet Charlatan. Mm-hmm. You can't mistake that voice. It's definitely not a Frank Welker voice. It's Richard Curran. And so they've dropped in from outer space. There was a problem with their spaceship. It's going to explode. And I don't quite get their backstory. Something about Kurdish revolutionaries.
Yeah, they were using big words that it was hard to understand, like what they were plotting and everything.
It sounds like Flarg is the leader of a planet or something like that, and there is basically revolutionaries or rebels opposing him. Kind of like the rebels against the Empire in the Star Wars films. I get that vibe. That there are rebels trying to overthrow him or something. Flarg rants a lot. I can't quite get exactly what he is and what he's all about. Mm-hmm. They're evil, and they use mind control. It's as simple as that. And of course, a very important plot point. What do these aliens eat?
Metal.
They like to eat metal, and especially Nikto. He's a pig.
Oh yeah.
So all of a sudden, we get the thunderquack. We get a crash.
Yeah, we get a launch pad. Probably because it's so early in production order, huh?
Yeah, we had a lot more launch pad crashes early in the show. The thunderquack flies by, and the Flarg's like, this planet might not be so backwater as we thought. and then the plane crashes, and he says, "Then again." So everyone steps out. Gosling, good foresight, has them all wearing helmets, just in case.
What a coincidence, huh?
What a coincidence. And I like this little bit with Launchpad and Honker. Launchpad's like, "Don't worry, Honk Man. Gosling says there haven't been any plasma-sucking aliens in this quadrant since the Centaurians overrun Galactic Sector Delta Q." And Honker goes, "Oh, great." and Flarg is like, "The Centaurians overran Galactic Sector Delta Q? Why wasn't I told that?" Mm-hmm. But it's probably some nonsense Gosling just made up.
Yeah. But Flarg shows a lot of interest in Honker, though, immediately.
Yeah, he notices how big Honker's head is, and he gets his opportunity when Honker throws the helmet off because it keeps falling over his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So Flarg jumps on Honker's head. Really cool shot. Flarg jumps right toward the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically from Honker's point of view. The spaceship blows up. Honker's okay, but there's one piece left over that Gosling grabs. And so Flarg takes Honker's backpack and puts Barada and Nikto inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone heads home.
Yep.
And
Drake is still playing Whiffle.
Yeah, this is some of my favorite animation in the episode, this one scene. Just the way Gosling's like right in Drake's face, jumping up and down, like, "We saw a spaceship and we saved this piece, take a look," right, like waving it right in his face. Mm-hmm. And there's some really great animation on Drake as he's talking to her. He's like acting with his tongue almost. And he's like, "This isn't from outer space," and the looks he's giving. And then Flarg, as Honker, he's like, "Since who made you an expert on extraterrestrial origins?" And Drake goes to say something, and he has this great Daffy Duck look of surprise. I love the drawings, like one of those things only Australia could do. It's really great. He says, "Since when did he become Mr. Motormouth?" Mm-hmm. So Drake goes back to the game, and he loses and decides to take a nap. But he happens to mention, "At least I got the signal Moonbase this time." And Flarg, who has no idea Drake's playing a video game, puts Barada on his head.
Yeah.
So Gosling and Honker go next door. And who is the first Muddlefoot they encounter?
Binky,
yeah. So what is it Honker bites into?
A cookie.
Yeah, and does he like the taste?
Nope, not one bit.
No. He gets mad. He goes, "Where's the metal?" And Binky's like, "Does he mean iron? Kids are so health conscious nowadays." So Binky has no idea. I mean, no one gets that Honker's voice has changed. Like nobody even acknowledges it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the next scene with Herb. We're introduced to him via a close-up of his big fat butt as he's fixing the TV.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one shot. The drawings on Herb as he's talking are so funny. Like Disney Australia had this wonderful knack of drawing big fat guys really, really well. Like Herb, Pete, Lucky Pickell. They really had a knack for these big lummoxes, just drawing these big guys. And they have next time we see Herb in Brush with Oblivion, that's some great animation in that one too. I also want to point out, remember when we interviewed Philip Giffen, we talked about the Muddlefoot theme. Mm-hmm. And we hear a lot of that in this episode. The Muddlefoot theme jumping back and forth between characters. I think a lot of this episode was an original score.
Okay.
But it had to have been, right? Because it was a really early one.
Yeah.
Okay, so they go upstairs. Take it from here. What happens when Tank shows up?
Well, before that happened, though, Flarg ate one of Herb's. He ate his crescent wrench, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then we get a battle of Tank. He think it's still Honker, but Flarg ain't playing around. He's like, I'll accept this challenge. And they get into like a finger duel. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, apparently on Flarg's planet they fight with their fingers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically Flarg beats the crap out of Tank.
Yeah.
Right? And I do like the shot of Gosling with her mouth hanging open, just watching what Honker's doing.
Yeah, because she's proud of him, and she's shocked.
Yeah, she can't believe what she sees because Honker's got Tank and he's spinning him in the air and throws him against the wall. But Gosling finally figures out what's going on when Flarg tries to take Nikto out of the bag, and she notices the eyes on the hats. And she realizes, okay, yeah, you guys are aliens.
Yeah, so she takes off.
No, she is gone. She heads right home.
Mm-hmm.
And quick, everything including the kitchen sink joke. She closes the back door of her house, puts the fridge in front of it, and like a whole bunch of other stuff, and then throws the kitchen sink at it too. So she used everything and the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
She runs into Drake, but he's not Drake.
Nope, he's Barada.
Nope, yep, he's Barada. So Gosling runs away from him too. What is she gonna do?
She's got to find LP.
Yep, he's the only one left that she can turn to. So she gets on the easy chair and she heads to the tower.
Yep.
What's the first thing she does to Launchpad when she gets there?
She tests his hat, his pilot hat.
Yeah, she tackles him and rips the hat right off his head and stomps it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice Launchpad's bald in this episode?
Yep.
I don't think the model sheets got to Australia in this one. Launchpad should have a full head of hair.
Yeah.
But
he had like a little piece up in the front, but they had nothing where the hat is.
Yeah, he was totally bald. He shouldn't be. And she says, I thought your hat was an alien. And Launchpad goes, no, it was made right here in town. Okay, so Gosling and Launchpad have to figure out what to do, and the aliens show up too, because they can read Drake and Honker's brains. They know this is where they should be. And Barada changes into the Darkwing outfit.
Yeah.
And he says, "You're just jealous because you don't have a cape." And do you see Flarg hitting on Darkwing's hat?
Yeah, he had the hots for it, man.
But it's so funny to see Honker doing that. Mm-hmm. Honker going up to the hat like, "Hey, what good looking hat like you doing here?" Mm-hmm. It's really funny. So Gosling gets an idea because when they pull Nikto out of the bag, he's covered in dust for some reason.
Yeah, and when he shakes the dust off, yeah.
Yeah, and Flarg sneezes, and when he sneezes, the hat pops off of Honker's head.
Yeah, so we get to see Honker momentarily.
Yeah, just for a brief second. Mm-hmm. And they realize, okay, sneezing is not a good thing. But Gosling gets an idea. She decides to grab a broom and start sweeping.
Yeah.
That backfires.
Because she makes LP sneeze.
He falls right off the balcony they're standing on. The aliens rip his flight cap off, and they put Nikto on him.
Yep.
Gosling runs off.
Yeah, and then the aliens head to a military base.
Because they're still trying to signal home. They basically just want to get home at this point. Mm-hmm. They're trying to find a way to communicate to their home planet to get picked up. So they find a place they're trying to find a transmitter. It's at Cape Canard. Mm-hmm. So they head there. They actually use the Thunderquack. There's a cool shot of the Thunderquack flying around St. Canard. That ended up in the ABC theme.
Yeah, we haven't seen the theme in a while, man.
No. This is the last time a shot from an ABC episode ends up in the theme. Mm-hmm. Flarg also mentions Phone Home. Obviously, what movie is that a reference to?
E.T.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely E.T. Which wasn't even 10 years old at the time.
That's crazy.
So they get to Cape Canard, and we find out Flarg has another power when the the guard shows up. What does he do to her?
Yeah, the MP, he hypnotizes her. She freezes, turns into, I don't want to say a statue, but she was rock solid or something.
Yeah, because the three aliens get away in the Jeep, and Gosling comes out of the Thunderquack, and she taps her on the head, and it's like clonk, clonk, clonk. And she comes into the military base, and all the military guys are all frozen solid. It's kind of creepy. Flarg is picking off all these guys, and it's dark inside the base. It's this episode's got some good atmosphere. So Nikto walks by.
He's eating.
He's eating something because that's what Nikto does. He likes to eat, as does Launchpad.
Yep.
So he's chewing on an electromagnetic lock for a plasmatic fission bomb. And
I can't believe you remember all that.
I had to write it down. These big ones I write down. And Flarg's like, "Where did you get that?" And this is the act break in this scene. I think it's fantastic. I really love this scene. Flarg opens the door, And the first thing he does, he just cackles. And it's great because it's Honker. Honker is all the acting on Honker in this episode. He doesn't act like this because he's usually Honker. So we get to see him act in ways he never would. Because what does Flarg see?
You see those missiles.
Yeah, all these nuclear missiles. And this is when, the episode, it takes a hard turn. It gets a lot more dramatic. And he's plotting, he's thinking to himself, with these missiles plus backup from the home planet, I can actually take over this planet. Mm-hmm. And it's really great acting on him. And you see Goslin as he says, prepare the missiles to fire. And Goslin's all shocked. Oh, when I watch it, I actually get goosebumps. It's a really good act break for this episode. Okay, so what's going on next? What happens next?
Next, they take over the TV.
Yeah, who's watching TV?
Herb. Well, actually, the whole family were.
The whole family's watching TV, yeah. And what does Flarg do?
He makes an announcement that they're about to take over the world.
And everyone should surrender, or he's going to vaporize them with their own missiles.
And it's funny because Herb is loving it.
The Muddlefoots are so stupid, they don't realize something's wrong. They just think Honker's, making something of himself. It's like if Pinky even tells Tank, once this is over, Honker should get the bigger bedroom. It's funny. So Goslin pulls the wires out of the console so she interrupts Flarg's broadcast. So he takes off after her. And he tells Barada to get the missiles ready. And Goslin and Flarg, they encounter each other in the cafeteria, actually. Tell us a bit about their fight, Will.
Well, she tackles him, and she realizes the pepper that fell off the table. Mm-hmm. So she tosses it at him, and there's pepper all over the place. So we get him to sneeze.
But this time, Flarg flies clear off his head, and Honker's back to normal. Yep. I feel bad for him. He's like, it was terrible, Goslin. I had to do everything you wanted. It was just like Tank. Poor kid.
Yeah. The
two of them realize pepper's the key to all of this. That's how they're going to save the day. Mm-hmm. So I like the setup here. Goslin and first the door is open and it's Flarg, and then Goslin and Honker throw the doors wide open and Flarg gets crushed against the wall. So Goslin tells Honker to open the big pepper shaker, and we see Honker struggling with it. He's like, I can't open it. Use the smaller pepper shakers, and it pans over to Goslin, but it's not Goslin anymore.
Nope, it's Flarg.
No, it is Flarg. So now Flarg's taking over Goslin, and Honker is out like a shot. Now Honker wants not, but Honker realizes, it's up to him now.
Yeah, he finally gets that lid open.
Yeah, he has to show some guts, he says. We haven't seen this side of Honker really yet in the series. So Honker comes in with a big container of pepper. Who does he give it to?
He gives it to all of them.
He gives it to Nikto.
Oh, yeah. Nikto got it first?
Yeah, Nikto eats it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's an aluminum can. Mm-hmm. And the pepper flies everywhere. Everyone sneezes. And Honker catches every hat in his backpack.
Yep, that good old backpack that has everything in it.
Yeah, Honker would be nowhere without that backpack. Seismospheres, alien hats. And that's when Darkwing says, when the Whiffle Boy sits on your head, he means business. Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean.
Yeah. But then the missiles take off.
They do. It's too late to stop them. Mm-hmm. But the missiles can't do any damage because who should show up but another alien spaceship?
Yep.
Did you catch what this one is shaped like?
No, I didn't catch that.
A hat rack.
Oh, a hat rack?
Yep, a hat rack. And, a little opening, a little door opens up. We get a couple of alien hats, including one that looks like a crown. So Honker puts it on, and it's Rob Paulson doing the voice again. But the name of the hat is Klaatu 2. He's the leader of the Kurdish revolutionaries. And they're going to take Flarg back to stand trial, he says. Mm-hmm. And, now I might as well mention it. The names Klaatu, Barada, and Nikto. That was an alien greeting from an old sci-fi film called The Day the Earth Stood Still. He would say Klaatu, Barada, and Nikto. And that's the names they use. I don't know why Flarg's name wasn't Klaatu. So it could have been Klaatu, Barada, Nikto. But anyway, that's what they decided to go with. So Honker puts on the hat and gets to explain it. And who takes the credit?
Oh, of course, you know who takes the credit? DW.
The most useless character in the entire episode in this one is Darkwing Duck. He says, "'Tweren't nothing." Goslin's like, "Hey, maybe for you." And so we end the episode in the Muddlefoot's house.
Yep.
And they feel bad for him, like, "Sorry, taking over the world didn't work." And Binky says, "Yeah, but we learned from our mistakes." And so how does it end? What happens with Tank?
Tank wants to take the last donut.
Mm-hmm.
But Honker's not having it. He shows him that finger. He remembers that little finger duel they had.
Yeah, and Tank takes off so fast he goes clean through the back door. You see a tank-shaped hole in the door. Yep. And I do love the very last shot. You know, Honker. It makes me so proud of Honker. He eats a little bit last little bit of the donut. He looks at the camera and just does this little thing with his finger, and Iris is out, and it's really cute. Like we waited so long to get a real Honker as the hero episode, and even though I know you don't love the episode, I'm sure you appreciate what it does for Honker. Yeah, it's an important one for him. It isn't our most important Honker episode. We know which one that is.
Oh yeah, we still got a while before we get there though, right?
But yeah. But for an episode that was written really early on, it's really important in establishing the Muddlefoots, especially Honker. It aired later, you know, but it is what it is. I do like this one a lot. You know, for what it is, I love the atmosphere, the Australia animation. I do think these aliens are fun. Because I love that whenever they're on somebody's head, and whatever the eyes of the character looks like, the eyes in the hat are making the same expression. So that was really clever. So I'm gonna give this one honestly 3.5 gas gun canisters.
Whoa.
Well, I like it that much. I think it's a really solid episode, especially one that was one of the earlier ones. I do enjoy it. How about you?
I'm only gonna give it a 2.
All right.
You know, to me, the episode does have a good flow to it. You know, from Honker to the aliens, like the transitions are really smooth. Like there's really no dull moment, but it really lacks to me. I just feel like the whole hats taking over the world type thing is really cheesy. I thought it was cheesy as a kid. I don't know.
I love it because it's so weird. That's why I love it.
I guess to me it's not that weird though. It's just plain. Yeah, you know, it's just really plain. It was like a hat take over the world. You know, they have their moments though that I do like. Like I like how Flarg is really dominant. Like he's not playing around. Like he really wants to take over the world. He's not scared of anything. You know, he's very aggressive. I do like Flarg for that.
And the performance by Rob Paulson really helps too.
Oh yeah, definitely helps. I'm not too excited about his 2 lackeys because they were pretty much useless.
I'll give you that. Like Flarg really dominates.
Yeah, Flarg I'm cool with. It's the 2 lackeys, so I really didn't see their point. One of them just the stereotype of he likes to eat, you know, blah blah blah. The other ones is like the kiss up, and you know, I'll do whatever you tell me to do, and I'll make fun of the third guy. So
I honestly think they were a little bit more clever. As much as I don't like the sequel, I think they were a little bit more clever about which characters the hats went on in that later one. But I don't want to go into detail because Launchpad's a food crazy, you know, a bit of, you know, not the smartest guy, and that's pretty much what Nikto was too.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't much of a change. But like you said, Flarg is great. I do enjoy Flarg quite a bit.
We don't get much DW at all in this episode. I like Goss. Goss really is very strong, but this is more of a Honker episode, as you said. And I do like you. We get more of the Muddlefoots. Even though Tank is a bully, I'm cool with it because that's always been his role, so it works. You know, and it works on this episode because we're trying to toughen up Honker. So I'm cool with
absolutely.
it. I'm cool with it. You know.
Yeah,
but I only give it a 2 though.
But me saying he's not a nice character, he's a bully, doesn't mean I dislike him. No, he works for what he was created for, Tank. And of course, this is the first time, even in Air Date, we've seen the Muddlefoot's living room and their kitchen. Like we get their whole house in this one. You know, and we even see a shot of Pelican's Island. I think it's the first time too. Yeah. Like they show the skipper tripping on a banana peel or something like that. But do you think any kid now watching Darkwing Duck knows what Gilligan's Island even was?
Probably not.
No, it can even see that now. Does it even air anymore? I don't think so.
No, it was on Amazon Prime though a couple months ago for free, but I don't think they would scroll like, ooh, what's this? Nah.
When I was a kid, it was on all the time, the time. So let's rate our villains.
All right, you want to go first?
Collectively as a group. Yeah, I'll go first. I'm gonna give him a 3. I think Flarg is that strong. Mm-hmm. I think maybe if he wasn't voiced by Rob Paulsen, if it was somebody else who wasn't having as much fun with the voice, maybe it would have been lower. But I think Rob helps, and I think the voice Jim gives Barada is unique, and I think it's cool. I like the Hat Aliens. I think it's just quirky enough that it works for Darkwing Duck, and they didn't have to bring them back. I'll say that much. But I think they're unique one-shot aliens. They probably should have stayed that way. How about you?
I'm gonna give them a 2. Flarg is definitely strong, but his personality is strong to me. His body as a hat is pretty much useless. Like I just don't see it realistically working. I know it's a cartoon. We're not supposed to think realistically. I think eventually people would have caught on like, hey, this is a hat and they're running around with suction cups, you know? Like without the host, the duck host, I didn't really see no strength in them, you know? Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion, but yeah, but I'm with you on the part they should not have brought them back. Definitely, I'm with that. They should have never brought them back. That second episode, but we don't need to get into that right now.
No, we're so far away from ABC season 2. We have so much more to do.
Yeah, but I do like Flarg, Nikto, and Barada. They were just useless to me, though.
Okay, I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. I can see that. So that's Battle of the Brainteasers. Another Saturday morning one done. We don't have too many more of these. And next episode is one of my favorites, Adopticon.
Tuscanini.
It's the last produced Tuscanini episode, but it's just super funny. I love the writing in this next episode, but we'll talk about it next time. So Adopticons are. Go ahead.
Is this our first Tuscanini episode that's not a Saturday morning?
No, Hush Hush Sweet Charlatan was a Disney episode.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. This is I think the best Tuscanini episode. But we'll get there next week. So that's it. I think we're done. Battle of the Brainteasers, everybody.
Okay, so Mike, where can they listen to us at, man?
Okay, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple devices, Google Play, Pocket Cast, Radio Public. You can talk into your Amazon Echo. It'll play us on there. Pandora, iHeartRadio, and you can watch us on YouTube. Also, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because at least once a week we put something up for you guys to watch, whether it be a commercial. Will's been working on a new video series. It's lots of random things we're doing now. Definitely subscribe to YouTube and subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcast too. We're lots and lots of places. Please support us, and also please, we're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So please check us out. Be a part of our community. And Will, you have any shout outs today?
Man, I'm not going to name one person, but the last time we recorded, we had 982 followers on Facebook. As of right now, we're at 2,500. And I think the last time we recorded was like a week and a half ago. Maybe 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks since we recorded the last episode, yeah.
Yeah, so in 2 weeks, we picked up, what is that, like 1,518 people?
Like over 1,500.
Yeah, that's a lot, dude. So I just want to say thank you to all our new people and welcome, and hope you guys stick around and enjoy the page.
We got some great episodes coming up, guys. Definitely stay with us.
All right, so that's it, Mike, man. We're signing out, and just want to remind everybody, stay dangerous.
Have a good night. Bye.